Someone in China ate a bat and then got really sick. Now we're all trapped inside our houses. What a f***ing dick. Nobody wants to live this way. But there's a place you'll be okay. Good thing we all can go downstairs and hang out with someone who cares. He's like you, he's locked into with his current state of affairs. So pull up a seat while we all hang downstairs. Good morning. Oh my, it's Wednesday. Day 18 of my CoronaViction. It's the 18th day I haven't been able to go into work. So that's how we're counting, not weekends. Weekends don't count. So hope you're doing all right. We had our first crisis of the CoronaViction 2020, of the work at home experience. So garbage day yesterday. Garbage cans are sitting outside. And I had a trap outside. I have a rabbit trap out there, because we get rabbits all the time. I'll talk more about the rabbits in a bit. But something tripped the trap, and I saw the garbage cans were there, and they needed to be brought in. So I walked out the door, and I pulled the door shut a little bit. I didn't want to pull it shut all the way, and I pulled it shut all the way. And I locked myself out of the house. So I'm like, oh, crap. So I go to the trap and reset it, and I got the garbage cans back to the house. And now I have to get back in the house. Now, my wife is working upstairs in her office, which is on the back side of the house. So I'm knocking on the front door, but she takes conference calls a lot. So I don't want to be pounding on the door while she's doing a conference call, but I want to be knocking on the door loud enough so she can hear me. So knocking on the door, and she doesn't hear me. And I can kind of look through the window back to the office door, and there's no movement, and I can tell that she can't hear me because she has a headset on. So, well, I'm going to have to go to the back of the house. And I don't necessarily want to do that because she scares easily. But it was the only way I was going to get in. So I walk around the house, and I could see her in there. She's sitting right next to the window, but she can't see me because she's too busy looking at the screen and doing her conference call. So I didn't want to freak her out. I lightly tapped on the window, and she whipped her head around and saw me there, and all of a sudden I hear, "Wah!" And I'm like, I'm sorry, because I knew it was going to happen. And I'm like, sorry, I locked myself out of the house. So I go to the front, and she's got the door open, and I said, please tell me you had yourself on mute through that. And she's like, yeah, I was just listening. I wasn't contributing at that point. Like, boy, that would have been a nice story for everybody on the conference call. But yeah, something had tripped the rabbit trap. And it reminds me of a story that is work related. And it leads into a new feature that we call True Confessions. I might have told this story on the air before. I don't know. Some people know this story. But there's a lot of rabbits around here. And back when we had a garden, I mean, they would eat everything. And flowers and your vegetables in the garden. And, you try to rabbit-proof the garden, and it just wasn't working. I mean, here's a picture of one of them I caught. And before you animal rights people get all nuts, it's a live trap, and I would take them, whenever I get one now, I take them down to the park and ride, which is a couple miles down the road. I go in there, and it's in the middle of nowhere, really, and just off the highway. I let them go into this field, basically, and they run in there, and they can find a place to go from there, and that's where they go. I didn't always take them to the park and ride. I caught a rabbit once, and I go to work, like at 5 a.m, and this is back when I could go. This was like 8 years ago. So I caught a rabbit. I checked in the morning. There's a rabbit in the trap. Okay. Like, well, I could take it to work. We've got a huge field surrounding the Radio Ranch at Woodward. Take it to work. In our parking lot, there's a little road that goes down to the tower that is in our huge field that we own. And I figured if I back down that road, I could take the trap out, let him out away from the building, and there's residential around. He'll find a place to land. So I did. Go to work. I backed down that little gravel road down where the transmitter site is, or the tower site is, I should say. And I take the trap out. I wore gloves because you never know. Set the trap down. The truck is behind me. You can't even see the building, and it's dark. Trap's down. I lift the trap door up, and I'm tapping on the cage to get the rabbit out. And finally, the rabbit shoots out of there and stops right before the tower site. Cuts back this way and runs back to the building, which I am far away from. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding. I intentionally got away from the building. And that's the last I saw of him for a few days. Again, getting to work at 5 a.m, I pull in, get out of the vehicle, walk towards the building, and we have an outside light by our employee entrance, and in the grass, sitting there, is the rabbit. Eating grass, looking at me, just not moving. He's a good ways away. And as you go into our employee entrance at that time, on the right side of the sidewalk, there's the side of the garage, and then they had planted some bushes there, little round bushes. And one day I'm walking into the building after that, and all of a sudden, bam! That rabbit was in the bushes, shot out and took off and scared the crap out of me. Saw the rabbit in the grass a few times over the next few weeks. I would say maybe for the next month. And at some point, I stopped seeing the rabbit. Now, whether the rabbit took off and found a house in the neighborhood, or if a hawk got him, because there's a lot of hawks around that area, who knows? But the rabbit was gone. But not before the rabbit decided to chew up all the little bushes alongside of the garage. And like I said, I never told this story of where the rabbit came from. So I know some of the management team has been watching the videos. If you're wondering why those little bushes got chewed up and we had to replace them a few years ago, that may have been indirectly because of me. I apologize. Oh, that little bastard. So yeah, true confessions. Oh, I've got a few more, and I might spill the beans on some other stuff too as we move along. By the way, haven't heard yet about going on the air, but it could happen as soon as next week, maybe sooner. I don't know, but they're getting prepared for me to go on the air, so it sounds like it's going to happen, and it could be as soon as next week. So I might have a show. As for this, people still want me to do it, but we might have to have a compromise, maybe once a week for as long as I'm stuck here. So we'll see. I will be back tomorrow, though. We'll do them all this week here. It is Throwback Thursday tomorrow. We'll do backtracks, and I'll have to find some cards to open. I might have some basketball cards to open, so maybe we'll do that. That'll be tomorrow as CoronaViction 2020 continues. Tomorrow, day 19. I will talk to you then.